If having feelings is something that cannot be said of God, so what does the wrath of God mean?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the question. So anytime you see in sacred scripture ascribing emotion or some other anthropomorphic human quality to God, so the way a Catholic would understand that is that, first of all, this is figurative language. It's not a literal predication of God, and wrath implies enmity, or sort of the opposite of reconciliation, right? If you're under somebody's wrath in a human relationship, it means it's not going well between the two of you, right?
Right.
And since God is unchanging, and He's the unchanging source of all goodness, it is possible to be out of whack, as it were, to not be reconciled to that, to not be participating in that goodness. And since it's not like if my UPS delivery man gets mad at me,
yes,
like I'm not going to feel the lack. It's not like I'm going to sit up at night really anxious that the UPS or Julia doesn't like me. But what if I'm out of whack? What if I'm not in union or in participation with, the very source of light, the very source of truth, goodness, and beauty? Well, I'm going to suffer, and I'll feel that as a loss in my soul. I might not recognize it for what it is, but there's going to be something amiss. St. Paul writes about this in Romans 7 when he talks about his own state of wretchedness, because he lived at conflict with himself. Like he had this understanding of the good and the true and the beautiful, but he couldn't live it, and that made him wretched. And so one could quite reasonably experience that from a human point of view as if that were, wrath, right? The way I would feel if some beloved human rejected me would feel horrible, and I'd feel alienated and lost and alone. If I'm alienated and lost from God, I might be able to, in an analogous way, in a figurative way, describe that as wrath. But the solution isn't to change God's mind, so to speak. It's to change my orientation towards the good, true, and beautiful, and to get rid of whatever the impediments are that are causing that disruption in the relationship.